So we talked a little bit about what I'm referring to when I'm talking about the mother wound, but what does it look like when you have a mother wound, when you have a limiting core belief or wounded inner child? What does that look like? And how can you tell today, here and now, that you have one that needs some attention? So let's dive in. I want to read to you a few different things that can really show up and are really limiting ways of being in our lives, right? So if you believe that there's something wrong with you, like inherently, there's just something wrong with you that is coming from a root child wound or a mother wound. Never really reaching your potential and fulfilling your potential and constantly kind of staying small, having weak boundaries, a weak sense of self and who you are and what you believe and what you like, not feeling worthy or capable of creating whatever it might be that you desire, the dream life, the dream project, the dream business, whatever it may be. Not feeling safe to be yourself, to take up space, to speak your truth and express yourself, being careful not to rock the boat in any given situation and really trying to avoid conflict, self-sabotaging every time you might get close to actualizing your desires, unconsciously waiting for approval before truly claiming your life, and really this is an outwardly expressing seeking outwardly for validation and approval from others before you live your life in whatever capacity, holding resentments toward people, constantly lying, constantly living for others and desires and people pleasing, constantly people pleasing and lying to yourself that this is what I want and this is what makes me happy when you're just doing what other people want and need in their lives, being taken advantage of in that way, and feeling unseen and unappreciated in a variety of different ways. This is very often happening in motherhood. Supporting new mothers is really important, and in a lot of different ways in lives, but I've also seen it a lot. It's a root issue, a very big issue in new parents' lives. Seeking approval outside of yourself, again, seeking outwardly, wanting somebody else to fix it, wanting somebody else to say you're good, you're on track, you're right. Feeling the need to fix other people, so like being the martyr, and people coming to you to get advice and help fix their life, but yours is a mess. Unmet personal needs because you're constantly giving and giving and giving to other people, but not to yourself. In a very self-sacrificing way, lack of direction or purpose in life, and attaching self-identity outside of yourself. So when you are looking at how some of these things can show up in your life, it can also really wreck things. So those are just some things that are internal feelings and stuff and ways of being and acting and behaving, but there's also really big red flag signs that there's a root wound, a root core wound. Inner child healing needs to be done, mother wounds, whatever you want to call them, and those are addictions, anxiety and depression, attacking self, so being super, super critical of yourself. And this is what I often see and refer to as the part of ourselves that is repeating the words of our parents. So it's our inner parent that's modeled after our human parents, and that is attacking us and criticizing us and being really, really critical of anything and everything that we're doing. A lot of people call this the inner critic. I see it oftentimes as part of the inner parent. They can be separate though. However it looks for you is perfect. But I see my inner critic came from a parent, right? And so mine are one and the same. Really having painful or toxic or tense, tumultuous relationships. So maybe you have a string of failed relationships, or you have a really, really hard relationship with your mom or your dad or your whole family, it could be. Or having just that one friend that's really tough to get an easeful, supportive relationship from. Living unconsciously. This is a really generic term, but really just going through the motions. Things might look good and seem great. You may have the success in the family and the picture perfect everything, but it's lacking meaning. Like there's no fulfillment there, and you really are living like just, by the book and not really connected to your truth. This can be unconscious. There's a disconnect there from your truth, from your emotions, from your experience and your fulfillment in life. And that's a sign as well of a mother wound, where maybe you just didn't learn to connect with yourself and see yourself in a way, because they didn't. Giving up or helplessness, there's a part of the inner child that kind of is learned helplessness, and this is oftentimes kind of what happens when children are it's one of the things that can occur from like sleep training, or they've seen this and studies have shown it in terms of orphans. So when they're not getting the connection that they need, and they're not getting attention and care that they need, there's just this sense of learned helplessness, and they stop crying over time because they learn it's not going to do anything. It's just, there's no point, and so I'm just going to give up. And this can string along and be repetitive in life, where anything that comes up that's hard, or connecting in relationships is hard, and I'm just going to give up, and I'm going to be helpless here in this situation. Defensiveness and rage. This is often a result of unmet needs, and and not filling your cup, and not being really clear on what it is that you need and your boundaries, and getting the support that you need. All of that, it will lead to defensiveness and rage. But in general, it can just be defensiveness and rage, not being seen, not being heard, not being understood, not being supported, all of that. Remaining stuck in a self-destructive behavior pattern, that can look like addictions, that can look like toxic relationship patterns and unhealthy relationships. Underachieving and not putting your full potential and skills out there. So this is really like a self-sabotaging. I got to stay small. It's not safe for me to be me. It's not safe for me to express sort of a real picture of what that can look like. Self-sabotage, fragile sense of self. You just don't really know, like there's no personality there. There's no truth to who you are. It's kind of, you fit whatever's around you so that you fit in and you feel safe. You can add any of your own experiences to this list. These are just a lot of different things that point to it, and a lot of the mental health issues that we have out there today. Obviously not, there's a lot that aren't, but there's a lot of mental health issues out there today that are rooted in these traumas, in the root wounds of childhood that came from mom and dad, right? Like our sense of safety in the world. And that really connects deeply to the root chakra, and then very quickly to the sacral chakra. And these really are referring to our sense of safety and worthiness in the world, to be here, to be ourselves, to experience life in a joyous way, and our sense of belonging and joy. So if any of these things are you, if you resonate with any of those things, stay tuned, explore some of my other videos, check out my website, check out my, join my newsletter, check out my offerings, any of that stuff, because I have a lot of things that can help you move through this. And I know I've moved through a lot of it myself, and I've gathered a lot of tools in my life that I'm here to share. And I want you to benefit from, because it took me a long time, and it doesn't have to take you a long time with the right resources. So, don't feel disempowered by realizing like, oh man, that's me and I have a lot of work to do. It can be fun. It's going to be great. And there's gold on the other side of it. It's so worth it to really finally experience the life, the love, and the joy that you want to experience, free from all of this other bullshit. So congratulations. I hope you show up for it.